powerful men in the world have come together to determine who is the world's strongest man. Now, let's meet the competitors.
Boris Djerassi, AAU hammer throw champion. Lars Hedlund, Swedish national powerlift champion. Jon Kolb, guard, Pittsburgh Steelers. John Matuszak, defensive end, Oakland Raiders. Brian Oldfield, former shot put champion. Ivan Putski, professional wrestler. Don Reinhoudt, the world record holder in the powerlift. Gus Rethwisch, a former national collegiate powerlift champ. Jack Wright, former arm wrestling champion. And our defending titleist, Bruce Wilhelm. Welcome to the Universal Tour Center and the return of our World's Strongest Men competition. I'm Brent Musburger, and let me explain the rules of our competition and how we're going to pay our athletes. 10 strong men have been invited by the show's organizers upon the recommendation of experts in the area of strength. We'll have a total of 10 events for the next 10 weeks. Now, our first 9 events, we are going to award points for finishing 1st through 5th. We will pay $50 a point. The winner of an individual event will get 10 points, 7 for finishing 2nd, 4 for 3rd, 2 for 4th, and a point for finishing 5th. Then our 10th event is a tug of war, and only our 4-point leaders will enter that competition with the points doubled to allow for a possible catch-up on the final week. Then, and when it's all over, we're going to award our top 5 finishers bonuses totaling $25,000. Breaks down this way: $10,000 for 1st, $7,000 for 2nd, $5,000 for 3rd, $2,000 for 4th, and $1,000 for finishing 5th. But everyone walks away with at least something. We have guaranteed each of our strongmen $2,000 that will be worked off against points and monies earned during the individual events. And when our competition is all over, only one man will be holding up the world with his strong hands, and he'll be taking this trophy home with him. We are at the 225-pound level, and the first athlete up is a huge underdog. Boris Djerassi, born in Israel, now lives in New York, hammer throw champion. Now, he can get it up to his chest in any manner that he wants. Then he can boost the barrel over his head and maintain control. 90 seconds to get the lift accomplished. Got a chance, and Djerassi will go to the next round, even though he weighs but 246 pounds. Now, that may sound like a lot, but here come the big men. In the background there, that's Lars Hedlund. He's lieutenant in the Swedish Army, 302 pounds, working against 225. That whistle starts the clock. A year ago, the winning lift 250 pounds. To the top.
Down. Good lift.
Next up is a heavyweight. Don Reinhoudt, 344 pounds, is the biggest competitor. And according to all the judges and the people who know so much about strength and weightlifting, they say that Reinhoudt is going to give Wilhelm all he wants. Did you see him get that up to his chest?
Get a balance on it. That's the way.
Nothing to it for Reinhoudt at 225. You better believe that Wilhelm is keeping an eye on Reinhoudt, and Bruce will be up next. Wilhelm is a former shot put and discus champion who didn't turn to weightlifting until 1975. Then at the Montreal Olympics, he won the silver medal in the snatch.
That's the way, champ.
No trouble for Wilhelm. And another 300-pounder is due up. Gus Rethwisch. He's a security guard at a hotel in Honolulu. He was born in the tiny town of Harpers Ferry, Iowa. Population 200. Gus was an outstanding basketball and baseball player. And at the age of 14, he already weighed 185 pounds. But it wasn't until he was 27 that he took up weightlifting. I think Gus is ready.
Come on, Gus. Yeah, I got you. Got it.
There it is. 5 athletes advance. And we move to 260 pounds, and the most amazing story is Boris Djerassi. Remember, he's in at 246 against these 300-pounders. As a hammer thrower, his personal best is 231 feet 7 inches. Now, that's 30 feet short of a world record, but for a practice facility, this man has to use a parking lot.
Very slow.
With that squat, he's able to get it to his chest. Wilhelm and Rethwisch watching. This may just be too much for Boris. Can't do it. See, a couple of the judges are telling him he's got time. He's got just over a half a minute. Boris is going to try it. Inside of 30 seconds. He'll have to hurry.
20 seconds.
Running to it.
Gonna snap it up.
15 seconds. Down towards 10. Boris has got it. Boris Djerassi makes it as time runs out. I thought you were going to back
How
out.
did I do that? I don't know how I did that.
You walked up with that final burst of energy. You were getting ready to quit, weren't you?
I was giving it up. That was it. I just ran. God, I don't believe it.
Great effort, man.
Unbelievable. And here is Reinhoudt. Now, he's a power lift champion. Lives in Fredonia, New York. I see his wife, Cynthia, off to the side here, yelling encouragement. And as a former powerlift champion herself, she is also coaching Don through this event. You could hear Cynthia in the background yelling, steady, steady, as Big Don makes it look easy at 260. And here's the defending champion who knows now that his work is cut out. Looked like he was going to turn a somersault.
Very good. Take your time.
Right to the top.
Plenty of time. Come on, bro. Plenty of time.
Wilhelm beats his best of a year ago. One of the big men left. Here he is, Gus Rethwisch. He's done a little bit of everything. He was a service boxing champion while in the Navy during his days in Vietnam. Gus's technique demands nothing but muscle. Instead of rolling that barrel up his legs, he just tries to lift it to his chest. Gus can't get control. Gus is out, and 3 men go to the next round. Lift, they're at the 270-pound total, and here is Boris Djerassi, who has become the crowd favorite here because of his effort at 260 pounds. Boris speaks Hebrew, Bulgarian, Russian, German. He's wondering what language 270 pounds will understand right now. Some of our other competitors there in the background. Our judges watching carefully to see that Djerassi gets this barrel up above his head and maintains control. Have to keep going. He's got time. Get it up there. And Boris bows out, and I think this time he will pass on a rematch. So Djerassi is out. Here's Don Reinhoudt. Reinhoudt holds the world and American records in the squat, 934 pounds. The deadlift, 885 pounds. He did have the bench press record of 606. Doug Young of Texas recently took that away at 610. Donnie going for the world mark in the barrel lift. May have it, and indeed he does, at 270 pounds. And what is going through Bruce Wilhelm's head right now? Last year he won this at 250, and suddenly he's matched against 20 pounds more than his championship total of a year ago. Reinhoudt watching. Squaring off that awkward weight. Liquid and shot in there, up on top of his head. Going for the burst. No control, the judges say. Not up long enough. Reinhoudt's our winner. 9 strength competitions to go. Reinhoudt leading Wilhelm and Djerassi. Rethwisch and Hedlund, 4th and 5th. 2 5-man heats. John Matuszak and Jon Kolb, our football players, are side by side. Jack Wright, the arm wrestling champion. Ivan Putski. That's it. Scratch your nose a little bit there, Ivan. And Brian Oldfield, who was 6th at the shot put at the Munich Olympics in '72. Now, they must get the ends of that bar to within at least 8 inches of each other. Do you see what Oldfield's doing, holding it down? That's a measuring device in front of each of our competitors. Wright's got to go back and try a little more. Jon Kolb, he's within 8 inches. So is John Matuszak. So all 5 of these competitors will go to the next round. And our second heat's got our heavyweights. Don Reinhoudt, who won the barrel lift. Boris Djerassi. And here's last year's overall winner, Bruce Wilhelm. Gus Rethwisch, looking serious, isn't he? Next to Gus, Lars Hedlund, the lieutenant from the Swedish Army. 60 seconds. Hal Connolly, the director of events, will blow the whistle to start them. And remember now, they must keep those hands down on the ends of the bars. They cannot drape their arms over them. No trouble for Big Don. There's Gus. Wait a minute, Don's putting that back up on his neck. I guess he didn't think it was close enough yet. There's Wilhelm. He's well within the limit. Djerassi gets it off from his neck. Now Reinhoudt's got a problem. He can't get the bar. Djerassi with a helping hand.
Hedlund good. Rethwisch good.
Don, I have detected one problem. When you bend the steel bar, you can't get it back off your neck. You're going to have to change your technique.
I think as they get thicker, I won't have that problem, Brett.
So Matuszak is on the right, 5/8 inches. The bar this time, and remember, you cannot use any part of your body when you're bending it. Brian Oldfield and Ivan Putski, Jack Wright. This figures to be a struggle, because this determined our champion of a year ago. Can anyone get the ends of that bar to within at least 8 inches? You see the time left. Down inside of 20 seconds to go. Here's Oldfield. Watch him. Even when he's under pressure, he'll give you a little of the clown. Matuszak's got one end over there on his right leg. And here comes one of the judges. John, you had the best bend, but Russ Nip, one of the judges, came up and disqualified you. Why?
Brent, I don't blame him. I was struggling with it, and I was just trying to get it bent as much as possible. And I got down, and I was on my leg, and you're not supposed to even have your legs to have anything to do with it. So he made a good call.
Now the other heat, with that bar at 5/8 inches. Wilhelm not encountering any trouble. He's doing much better than he did last year. And look at the big man. Oh, Reinhoudt. How did he do it that easily with that thickness at 5/8 of an inch? That's going to make him the favorite. Here's Rethwisch, the bouncer from a hotel in Honolulu. And Lars Hedlund. So now they will measure. That's the time left for Boris Djerassi. And for Gus Rethwisch, down toward 20 seconds. Wilhelm will make it. Bruce trying to tell Hal Connolly that after he gets the 2 ends to within 8 inches around his neck, it'll spring back. And meanwhile, Rethwisch is still trying to qualify, and that's the end of it. 3 strong men are still bending in the steel bar competition. 11/16 of an inch in thickness. Don Reinhoudt on the right, Bruce Wilhelm in the middle, and Lars Hedlund on the left. A 60-second time limit. Reinhoudt, oh, he took his hands off the ends of the bar. He's been disqualified. He is out. We are down to Wilhelm and Hedlund. The steel bar is winning right now. Boy, that disqualification is going to hurt Reinhoudt because he could have taken a 2-week lead. Down toward the final 10 seconds. Hal Connolly and the judges are going to have to measure to determine a winner here unless Hedlund can get a bit further, because it is close. There it is. Time's up. Lars can't believe that bar didn't give any more than that. Reinhoudt disqualified when he went to the forearms on the end of the steel bar. Hal Connolly now has talked to the judges, and he's got the winner for us.
The officials have checked the bars very carefully, and they have determined without a question of a doubt that it is a tie.
All right, let's share it with him.
And what the two share are 17 points, splitting first and second. Don Reinhoudt third, Jon Kolb fourth, and Gus Rethwisch is fifth. Our top 5 strongmen after 2 weeks. Don Reinhoudt and Bruce Wilhelm tied, and oh, how that disqualification hurt Don. Lars Hedlund, Boris Djerassi, and Gus Rethwisch round out the first 5. Quite simple. Each of our strongmen allowed 2 preliminary tosses, and then the top 5 will go to a 1-toss throw-off for the championship. You're looking at big John Matuszak of the Oakland Raiders, his second preliminary toss. There are 5 leaders. So Hedlund really is sitting on the bubble, as they refer to it at Indianapolis. Russ Nip, Tommy Kono, some of our other judges are out there for the measurement. And John Matuszak now sitting in 5th place. There's Reinhoudt, one of our leaders. There it is, 32.5. Matuszak now in 5th. Here is Jack Wright. He's a former arm wrestling champion. He needs a little more speed. Each of these athletes allowed to turn 1.5 times in that circle. That's not enough power. Wright is not going to be a factor, so he will miss with his second preliminary toss, and he will not get into the final. Now, there's the man who should win it, Brian Oldfield. He is a great shot putter. He knows how to generate strength and power right here with his turn. That's a good throw by Oldfield. That's out there at that 40-foot mark. You bet Brian knows he's got something going. 41, 2.5. So he'll go to our final for sure. Big Brian Oldfield.
Brian, have you been tossing tires in your spare time? Is that why you're so
I can't even change a tire. I'm just amazed that this conforms so well to my style of throwing.
Well, you said this was going to be your event. You were right.
I got to do something right.
Thank you.
As a pro, Brian was able to put the shot 75 feet. Here's a look at the style that enabled him to set that incredible mark.
As a shot putter, how much weight did you lift, and how important was it to a shot putter to work with the weights?
Well, I learned from a lot of strong men, you know, from the early 60s shot put training with Perry O'Brien and what have you. They started to develop the strength training for the shot put, and for a long time I thought that that was the only way to go, and I got up to about 280 pounds and I threw over 75 feet. I weigh 245 now, and I'm almost throwing that far. It's more impeccable character. I am more just a thrower now instead of a weightlifter-thrower combination.
Just one final quick question for you, Brian Oldfield. A lot of talk about sex with football players and soccer players. The World's Strongest Men competition, do you believe in sex the night before the refrigerator race?
Some people say that sex is good for you because it keeps you out of the refrigerator.
And a look again at Brian Oldfield's powerful technique in the tire toss. He is our leader right now. So here's Ivan Putski, the wrestler. Not yet on our leaderboard. And that's going to be a foul. Hal Connolly picks it up immediately. Left foot over the white line. Don Reinhoudt foul with his first toss. Boris Djerassi is up right now. He should do extremely well in this for two reasons. Number one, he's a hammer throw champion, so he will understand how to generate power with his revolutions inside the circle. But number two, do you know where he practices the hammer toss? In a parking lot in Brooklyn. He knows all about asphalt. Good throw out there around 40 feet. Not as far as his 40 foot 6 inches with his first toss, but Boris Djerassi, no doubt, is going to go to the final. And remember, these preliminary figures don't count in the finals. Gus Rethwisch. He is a bouncer at a hotel in Hawaii, but it's not all physical with Gus, because if you want to sit down and negotiate, he also holds a degree in political science from the University of Hawaii. Gus will go to the one-handed technique with the tire. Remember, Matuszak is in fifth, 32.5, and that's going to be very close. Looks like it was out around 35 feet. Judges are measuring, and it's 35 feet exactly. So Rethwisch has pushed Matuszak out of the top 5, and here's the man in fifth, Jon Kolb, the lineman from the Pittsburgh Steelers. 34 feet 10 inches his first toss. And that one not nearly that far. Got over too far with his throw before he let go. So there you see our 5 leaders.
28 feet 9 inches.
Now, Don Reinhoudt is coming up after Kolb. He fouled the first time, tied for the lead coming into this event. So the pressure's on. And he must exceed Kolb's 34 feet 10 inches. Reinhoudt from Fredonia, New York, has spent the last 3 months in preparation for taking the crown away from Bruce Wilhelm. Looks like a good toss. That's out around 35, 36 feet. There it is. Don Reinhoudt jumps into the top 5. Rethwisch is now in 5th place. And here's Lars Hedlund. He's a Swedish national powerlifting champion, lieutenant in the Swedish Army. Rather amused that he has to throw a tire. Said he'd never encountered such an event as this. Let's see what kind of a style he comes up with. A little bit of a wobbler. And that's not going to be good enough for Lars Hedlund. He's one of our big men, though. 6'3", 302 pounds. And now Lars can sit down over there, get a little shade, and watch our defending champion go to work. Here's Bruce Wilhelm. This was not one of Bruce's good events a year ago. So a couple of used tires, a vacant lot, and a few practice hours. And this year, Bruce Wilhelm goes to the finals. And we'll be right back.
Here's your host, Brent Musburger.
Back with the finals of the tire toss at the World's Strongest Men competition. Gus Rethwisch getting ready. And when you think of sudden death, this is it. Nothing that these 5 finalists did in the preliminary heats means a thing right now. It's a one-toss shootout. 6'4", 325 pounds of power. Out around 35 feet. Tommy Kono out there with John Turpak measuring. Hal Conley will call out the figure. There it is, 34.5 for Big Gus. And here is Don Reinhoudt. Boy, clothing manufacturers must love to see these guys come through the door. Imagine the yards of cloth that it takes just to cover a big man up like that. Oh, good explosion that time by Don. That is by far his best toss. 41.5 And Bruce Wilhelm is under pressure right now. He came into event number 3, tied with Reinhoudt for first place. Bruce is ideally suited for a strong men competition. He's big, strong, and he is also quick, extremely quick for his size. He goes out after Reinhoudt, but that's going to be short. Don Reinhoudt will take the overall lead, regardless of who wins the tire toss. There's his distance, 37 feet, 7 3/4 inches. 3 finalists in, Reinhoudt leading. Boris Djerassi, hammer throw champion. In the preliminary round, he was out at 40 feet, so he's got a chance here. And that toss not as good as the one he turned in earlier. So Boris will not be happy with that effort. 37 feet, 7 1/2 inches. He's capable of doing much better, and he knows it. One competitor left, and he's the favorite. Brian Oldfield. There it is. Oh, magnificent explosion by Oldfield. He's out around 42 feet. Great throw by Brian. He is going to win our tire toss.
Dr. Wilhelm was over there laughing and jiving a little bit while you were rotating, but that didn't throw you off bed, did it?
Not a bit. Quick was in this time, Quake was out.
It's nice to see your name go up there on the numbers board down there, Brian.
I need the bucks.
All right, Don, come over here.
That's fantastic.
Thank you. You put the pressure on me.
Not only that, Don, but now you have taken overall first place after 3 weeks.
I'm happy about that.
Can you keep it up now?
I'm going to try. This competition is so good. Everybody is great that it can go to anybody. So we'll just give it the best shot we got.
I want my mother to see this one. Mom, watch. See the difference?
And Oldfield's winning toss, a world record, 42 feet 9 inches. And after 3 weeks of competition, Reinhoudt leading Wilhelm by 3 points. Oldfield jumps up into 3rd place. Hedlund is 4th. Djerassi is 5th. Rethwisch now in 6th place. And in 7th, Jon Kolb with 2 points.
See, this is not the ordinary automobile. This is the 1916 Maxwell, which Jack Benny used in his television performance. We also have Columbo's automobile, the car that Paul Newman drove in the Sting. So let's take a look at the leaderboard before we start the car lift.
And after 3 weeks, our defending champion, Bruce Wilhelm's in 2nd place, 3 points back of Don Reinhoudt. Now, the man up in the car lift is our professional wrestler, Ivan Putski. The gross weight of the car is 1,800 pounds. They just have to lift those wheels up off the ground into a full lock position. Come on, Ivan, he's got it. Russ Nip, the judge, right behind him. Our director of this event, Hal Conley, looking on, and here's Lars Hedlund getting a little power out of the sun. Lieutenant the Sweetie Charmy. He's one of our 300-pound buffaloes. And Lars Hedlund will go to the next round. You would think that the big men would hold the advantage in this competition, and here's one of them. John Matuszak of the Oakland Raiders. Won a Super Bowl ring a couple of years ago when the Raiders beat Minnesota. He was handling those Viking offensive linemen that day. Now he's struggling with this car. He's got it. John Matuszak will go to the next round. He looks a little weary after that lift. Hey, here's a guy you got to go through to get at Terry Bradshaw. Jon Kolb of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Out of Oklahoma State. Weightlifter, wrestler, fine all-around athlete. Now he's got to get Jack Benny's wheels up off the ground. Easily. Nip come to bring it down after that locked position is established for the rest of our judges. We go to round 2. 2,040 pounds is the gross weight of the automobile. Gus Rethwisch. You know, of all our competitors, he is known as the quiet man. Doesn't say much. Then he just gets up there and he explodes with the brute strength, a former powerlift champion. And Gus will go to the next round. That car they're lifting this time was in the movie The Sting. Paul Newman and Robert Redford drove it around town. But when you're lifting it, you can't con it. And here's Boris Djerassi, who at 5'10½" weighs 245 pounds. And pound for pound, all the competitors will tell you this man is the strongest. Watch here how he gets leverage, uses his entire body, competing against all these 300-pounders. And I got to bet on Djerassi. There it is. And Boris will go to the next round. Now, here come the Buffaloes. Bruce Wilhelm, About 320 pounds after a good breakfast. Last year's champion. And Bruce goes on. But Bruce is keeping an eye on this next fella. Don Reinhoudt from Fredonia, New York. That's upstate New York. He holds 24 world records in weightlifting. And for the last few months, he's been concentrating on only one thing. Get that title away from Bruce Wilhelm. And that training's been successful so far, hasn't it? And the next obstacle for our athletes, Columbo's car. Round 3 of the car lift. The gross weight is approximate, 2,340 pounds, so we've added 300 pounds for Ivan Putski, who at 39 years old will go no further in the car lift. Already we've eliminated 3 others, Wright, Oldfield, Matuszak. Here is Lars Hedlund, 29 years old, the lieutenant from Sweden. 90-second time limit. Just about had that right wheel up off the ground about a ½ inch. Trying to get energy for one quick burst of power. And the car wins. Hedlund retires. Jon Kolb will try it. 30 years old. This is the car that Peter Falk drove during his popular television series, Columbo. Look at Kolb's right hand. He will try to come up underneath the bar. Judge Rusnip looking on. Bob Zuver, our commissioner of apparatus, stands close by. We watch these athletes carefully. Not moving. And Kolb is out. Now here's Gus Rethwisch. And you would have to think that our powerlift champions like Big Gus and also Don Reinhoudt would have a good chance. Must lift the wheels up off the ground and establish a full locked position with those shoulders, arms, and legs. Gus will come over the top. He had that right one moving. Gus backing away. Let's see if he quits.
Take it easy. Got a minute left.
No, he was listening to Hal Conley tell him there's still time. So he's going to stay with it. Notice how tightly those belts are around these lifters' waists. Got a shot. Come on, Gus. Come on, Gus. Couldn't quite do it. Look out. Somebody better get up there. I think he's blacking out. There's Hal Conley. There's Dr. Leroy Perry right there. They've got some oxygen here in the back.
Stay tuned. Now, here's your host, Brett Musburger.
Boris Djerassi, our next competitor. Gus is all right. Gus going to be okay, but boy, so far this car is really winning, isn't it? Djerassi's 26 years old, now lives in Brooklyn. Watch how he places his hands underneath.
How much time, please?
2340, the gross weight. After Djerassi, Wilhelm and Reinhoudt. No one has yet succeeded with this weight. Look at that strength of Djerassi. Can't do it, but he had that right tire moving. So here is Wilhelm. Can anybody successfully lift this weight? Here's our defending champion. He'll come underneath. He's got a shot. Bruce Wilhelm has done it. The first strong man to succeed with that car. Now the heat's on Don Reinhoudt. And here's Donnie. Underneath like Wilhelm. And there he is. Reinhoudt goes on. So now let's see what Hal Conley and the judges decide to do. Wilhelm is telling him that he'll pass. Bruce Wilhelm has bowed out. He'll settle for the tie. Reinhoudt says, oh, wait a minute, there'll be no tie. Add 5 pounds and let's go. So Reinhoudt going for the 10 points. Already leads last year's champion. Let's see if he can pick up a few more points. This would establish a world record for Reinhoudt in this event. Here he comes. He's got it. Don Reinhoudt has won the event and set a record in the process. Fantastic effort by Big Donnie. Congratulations, Don.
Oh, thank you.
Sensational effort coming back.
Well, I got pushed a little bit and I had to, work a little bit myself today, so thank you.
One more look at Donnie's fabulous effort. And for capturing the car lift, he picks up 10 points. Bruce Wilhelm, 7 for second. Putski, Hedlund, Kolb, Rethwisch, and Djerassi split the rest of the points. And after 4 weeks of the World's Strongest Men competition, Reinhoudt now leads Bruce Wilhelm by 6 points. Working against the clock. They'll come up in 2-man heats, and the fastest time overall wins this competition. Heat number 1, Jack Wright against John Matuszak of the Oakland Raiders. You would think that this would be an event that football players would love. Oh, Wright slips at the start. Now he's coming back with a wheelbarrow, but Matuszak is off to a good start. If he can keep it straight, he's going to win this heat easily. The elapsed time at the bottom of your screen. That's a good winning time by John Matuszak as Jack Wright also finishes up. The football background did it, right?
Brent, it helps a little bit that Tom Doms makes us work so hard on the sled, but we'll see how the time turns out.
Now, you are the first one to come up the hill. What's it going to be like for the rest of the competitors?
Well, it's going to get a little warmer as it goes on, so the best thing to do would be go right along in the competition, Brent, because it's heavy and it's hard to control. And it's a lot of fun.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Brent.
All right, Wright turned in at 21.34. So the second heat, Brian Oldfield against Boris Djerassi. Oldfield, the shot put record holder. Djerassi, the hammer throw champion. They're shooting at Matuszak 16-10. Off to an even start. Now it's Djerassi with a burst up that hill. Look at Boris Djerassi come with that 750-pound wheelbarrow. 100 feet from start to finish. He's got a shot at Matuszak 16-10. Boris is our new leader. 15.84. And a mighty roar of triumph for Djerassi. Way to go. Good run out there. Yelling encouragement to yourself now.
Oh, you just got to yell, man.
That was so close, about halfway up. Could you see him out of the corner of your eye?
Yeah, I was looking at him, but I was starting to veer. And I didn't like that, but I just kept yelling and pushing like...
Thank you, boy.
Thank you.
You see the crowd in behind Boris Djerassi? More folks watching him push a wheelbarrow than throw the hammer. And I asked him if that affected him as a competitor.
Well, it affects you a lot. It certainly does. I mean, most of the meets that I throw in year-round, there's nobody watching, just a handful of people. When you do get to the big meets, like the USSR meet and the meets in Europe, those are the meets that you look forward to. And where you have the 25,000, 30,000 crowd to throw in front of, right in the middle of the field, and they're screaming and yelling, and for those few moments is really what you ruin your whole life for.
Tell me about that famous practice facility that you've got.
Marine Park parking lot is probably one of the best training facilities in the United States right now. It's certainly one of the most famous. I've had a lot of publicity on that facility. It's in Brooklyn, New York, as you know, and it's You know, quiet little place out of the way, one of the few areas in the New York area where you can't throw the hammer.
Oldfield's time, 16.75. And Djerassi's amazing 15.84 is the one that Gus Rethwisch in the red and Jon Kolb of the Pittsburgh Steelers in the yellow will be shooting at. Off to an even start. Kolb with a slight lead. Rethwisch coming on strongly. It got out of control for just a moment on Jon. Rethwisch, he's going to have a terrific time, and so too is Kolb. Rethwisch, 13.67. Hey, Kolb in 15.16. It's even more impressive the second time around. Off to an even start. Kolb and Rethwisch dueling all the way. Got to about the 30-foot mark, and Gus just exploded with a mighty burst. Amazing time.
You handled that rather calmly. You haven't even broken a sweat. That's about as easy as I've seen anyone take this.
I'll handle my share of cement in my day.
Is that what it's like? A big load of cement coming uphill, right?
That's about.
Just drop it in and get the foundation going.
That's right.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brent.
How we stand right now. Rethwisch with the lead, and Jon Kolb is in second. And we'll be back with the conclusion of the wheelbarrow race. Ivan Putski matched against Lars Hedlund of Sweden. The time to beat, that amazing 13.67 turned in by Gus Rethwisch. Hedlund with the lead. Putski now is pulling up. He is leaving the course, and Hedlund is coming on up against that clock. Here is Lars Hedlund. Hits the finish line in 15.58. Meanwhile, there's Dr. Leroy Perry looking at Putski's leg. Does not appear to be serious. You practice any kind of these events over in Sweden? Do they have wheelbarrow races?
No, they aren't. It's the first time I was doing it. It's very tough.
And not bad for the first time you've ever pushed a 750-pound wheelbarrow, 100 feet uphill. You know, I had a chance to talk to Dr. Leroy Perry, and I think you will enjoy the conversation.
Anytime you get a group of world-class athletes together, you got to have somebody to keep them going. And Dr. Perry, you've been working overtime with some of them.
These men are real gentlemen and real hard competitors, and I think people out there should really understand that this is true competition. It isn't just playing around. This is real competition. A lot of physiological stress, and these people have really been working hard at taking care of it.
Dr. Perry, I know that you're quite familiar with the Los Angeles Dodgers and the baseball players. Now, here you're working with 300-pound weightlifters. Is there any difference? Are their needs any different?
You have a lot more muscle mass, and their frames are, of course, a lot larger. And some of our taping procedures and brace supports and things we've used all preventatively. But basically, other than the fact that they're 3 times the size of a normal athlete, everything's pretty much the same.
Doctor, I feel great. I've been taking your advice.
Well, you're a good specimen there, Jim.
Thanks, Doc.
Okay.
And here come 2 other marvelous specimens up that hill. The 2 big guys who are running 1-2 in the competition right now. And the time to beat, 13.67. What a match this figures to be. Over there on the left, Don Reinhoudt leading our defending champion, Bruce Wilhelm, by 6 points. Wilhelm won this event a year ago. Here they come. Reinhoudt is away well. If he can keep it straight and keep on coming, he's having trouble. He has slipped, and Wilhelm will win this heat easily. But what kind of a time will he turn in? Reinhoudt coming back unofficially. Wilhelm's got an amazing time there. 13.41. Fantastic. Already, Gus Rethwisch is in officially at 13.67. Let's take another look at Reinhoudt. Got off smoothly, and then suddenly he just slipped, and that allowed Wilhelm to continue right up the hill, and even though he wasn't forced, he turned in a great time.
This, you said this was harder than last year?
Yeah, I think we've been sandbagged on this. I wasn't breathing this hard last year. I'm in better shape. It was more difficult. I don't know what the story is.
Yeah, but you know, you were in trouble, and Don, what happened? Just lose control?
I guess I was going too fast and lost control, that's all.
Because you were watching carefully when they were coming up that hill, because you had by far the best time.
Thank you. I think the only way to do it is for Bruce and I to have a runoff, so maybe we can keep him quiet for a while.
This man isn't even able to keep up with me. He looks like a whale himself.
He has challenged you to go back down there and do it again head-to-head. Now, I know that's not how the rules state. Would you accept that challenge?
I would accept the challenge with knives, chains, darts, you name it. There's nothing. I'm not ready.
You want to go back down and have another?
I'm ready.
All right. 13.41 is officially the first place time, and 13.67 Gus's time is second, but he wants to go back down and do it again.
I win. I'm the champion. I don't have to play with these hot dogs.
And so, big Bruce Wilhelm successfully defends his championship in the wheelbarrow race. Gus Rethwisch winds up second. After 5 weeks of our competition, Wilhelm is our leader, but Don Reinhoudt continues to stalk him. Boris Djerassi, AAU hammer throw champion. Lars Hedlund, Swedish national powerlift champion. Jon Kolb, guard, Pittsburgh Steelers. John Matuszak, defensive end, Oakland Raiders. Brian Oldfield, former shot put champion. Ivan Putski, professional wrestler. Don Reinhoudt, the world record holder in the powerlift. Gus Rethwisch, a former national collegiate powerlift champ. Jack Wright, former arm wrestling champion. And our defending titleist, Bruce Wilhelm. Hello again, everybody. I'm Brent Musburger, and welcome to the Universal Studios Tour Center, the setting for our strongmen competition. Each of our 10 athletes guaranteed $2,000, but they can earn bonus money totaling $25,000. And we've got weekly prize money worth $1,200. Our next event for the World's Strongest Men competition, Commissioner of Power Terry Todd, is the traditional girl lift. We've got some lovely members of the Los Angeles cheerleading squad and such an interesting apparatus here. Why don't you go demonstrate it for me?
Well, Brent, it's a hot afternoon, and my family, my wife handles the heavy work.
Your wife handles the heavy work?
Yes, maybe Jan could show us how it's done.
All right, here is Jan Todd, actually a world-renowned weightlifter and perhaps the strongest woman in the world.
Yes, Jan holds most of the weightlifting records for women. In the squat, she's about 100 pounds of the next heaviest. This is 415 pounds here.
Right! Oh, Dan, come on over here. Terry really does make you move the refrigerators and everything, right?
Listen, we moved recently, and he had a sore back the whole time.
You know, I was looking at you and thinking what we ought to do someday is have a world's strongest women competition.
Well, you know, I think there'd be a great deal of interest in that. There are an awful lot of women in the world now who are training with weights, and a lot of girls in other sports who are very, very strong, too. And I think it would be pretty interesting to see how it came out.
The first event was the barrel lift. It was extremely awkward, liquid and shot inside, and big Don Reinhoudt immediately served notice to Bruce Wilhelm that he was out after his championship this year. 270 pounds. And against the clock, Reinhoudt was able to lift it to the top and lock for 10 points in the first week of our competition. The second event, the steel bar bend. They got down to 11/16 inches in diameter. Lars Hedlund on the left and Bruce Wilhelm on the right. And these two 300-pounders wound up with a dead heat victory. They split first and second. The third event was the tire toss. And the favorite, the shot put champion, Brian Oldfield, heaved it 42 feet 9 inches for the title. The car lift, again it was big Don Reinhoudt, 2,345 pounds. The fifth event, the wheelbarrow race, for the second year in a row, it was big Bruce Wilhelm to the top first. Let's take a look at the leaderboard right now before we start the girl lift. Halfway home in the strongman competition, and our defending champion Bruce Wilhelm leads Don Reinhoudt by 4 points. That's a battle at the top between those two, isn't it? Now, all of our strongmen made it at 445 pounds here in the girl lift, so we've added one of those pretty cheerleaders. Now the total weight's 570 pounds. Now, girls don't weigh that much. Each of them weighs 125 pounds, and the rest of the weight's dead weight. And here's Ivan Putski. And he pushes it right back up to the top. The rules are quite simple. They bring the weight down to a certain level, depending upon their height, and then they must hoist it back up to the top. Now, here's Don Reinhoudt. This man holds 25 world records in weightlifting. He should handle this easily, and he does. Now we're going to show you one of the most amazing athletes in our competition. Hammer throw champion by the name of Boris Djerassi. Why is he amazing? He gives away 100 pounds. He weighs only 240. Some of those buffalo are in at about 320, 330. He will use it all, and he'll just keep right on going. Right there. He has become a huge crowd favorite in our competition this year. And here's our European competitor, Lars Hedlund, lieutenant in the Swedish Army. Powerlift champion from that country. He's really been enjoying himself in this and doing a good job, too, I might add. Nothing to it. Now the quiet man is due up from Hawaii. Gus Rethwisch, powerlift champion. He has a degree in political science from the University of Hawaii. And he also hoists 570 pounds without any difficulty. Now the defending champion, Bruce Wilhelm, been a little bit quieter this year than he was a year ago. I think it's because of that pressure from Don Reinhoudt. Wilhelm is in for a battle the rest of the way, and he knows it. No trouble there. Now at 570, we had some who did not make it as Bruce and the others did. Jack Wright bowed out. So too did Brian Oldfield. John Matuszak couldn't make it, nor could Jon Kolb. When we went to 680 pounds, only Ivan Putski failed. So now we will go to 750 pounds. 4 girls plus 70 additional pounds right there being added. Michelle Turner, Cindy Landis, Debbie Kitzmiller, and Beverly Jean of the Los Angeles Rams cheerleading squad are ready. And here is Don Reinhoudt, the power lifter. 750 pound total. I had a chance to talk to Don about the difference between Olympic lifting and powerlifting. Here's what he had to say.
I would say basically powerlifting is more for brute power, and Olympic lifting is more technique and it's more finesse which is involved with it. And of course powerlifting is, we lift more weights, and I think pound for pound we're stronger people.
Should powerlifting become a part of the Olympics? Would you like to see that?
Definitely, and I think in the future definitely will be, because it's a very popular sport.
You know, I've watched you compete so far, and I said to myself, there's somebody who planned for these particular events. You've had your eye on this.
Yes, I have. This is very important to me. And of course, it's an honor for me to be here, and I'm not only representing myself, but I'm representing the great sport of powerlifting.
And representing that sport quite well. All right, timekeeper Bob Heiss says we're ready to go again. 750-pound level in the girl lift. Reinhoudt already has advanced. Boris Djerassi is the next athlete due up. Now, alongside, when we pull back, you'll see a couple of our judges, John Turpak and also Tommy Kono, standing close by to help the athletes. There's Bob Zuver also on the right-hand side. He's the chairman of the apparatus. The key here is once you start the lift, don't stop. 750 pounds, and don't let it rest on your back. Just move right on through it. All right, here he comes. He's got a chance, and he'll make it. Boris Djerassi advances to the next round. Big favorite with the crowd. Cheerleaders like him, too. They're getting quite a ride, and it's a little warm out here in Southern California this afternoon. And here's Lars Hedlund of Sweden. He weighs just over 300 pounds, so he will be tangling with a weight that's twice his size. He'll get ready, and the judges will release the weight. Here he comes. Oh, he can't stop like that down there. He'll never get that weight going again. Commissioner Terry Todd agrees. And so Gus Rethwisch is next.
Give him some help, son.
And after watching Hedlund's problem, you can bet that Gus will attempt to keep that weight moving once it starts. He's got a shot. Bruce Wilhelm coming up. Hey, Big Gus looks a little weary after that, doesn't he? Here's Bruce. Bruce is being given the same advice that Gus received. Don't stop once you get the weight to the bottom. Tremendous burden on those shoulders. Can you imagine the strength that you've got to have up there? And Wilhelm made it look easy. So let's add a little weight here, folks. Susan James of the Los Angeles Rams cheerleading squad coming up in 790 pounds when we come back. level at the girl lift in the World's Strongest Men competition. Don Reinhoudt is up. You know, he's a graduate of Hamel College. He's a professional accountant working for the United States government. And with all the world records that he's established, you'd have to be an accountant just to keep track of them.
Okay, real tight now, real tight.
Here he comes. He comes through it with ease. Don Reinhoudt. Hard to believe that Boris Djerassi is still in this competition. Here he is, 790 pounds he's working against. Boris, 26 years old, lives in Brooklyn. He is a probable member of the United States Olympic team for the games coming up in Moscow. Holds dual citizenship in the United States and Israel. Marvelous hammer throw champion. Taking time, getting set. You know, besides the muscles up there in the shoulders and the upper arms, just think about the burden on the legs when you squat down. Here he comes. It's moving. And now he can't do it once you stop like that. Boris Djerassi is out. Now, wait a minute. Time is not up. He's coming right back. This guy, he just won't quit on you. He did the same thing in the barrel lift and made it. Is he going to do it again? Let's see what happens. Oh, this is almost impossible. 790 pounds just to push it to the top. And that's it. Oh, you talk about an effort. And the crowd here appreciates it. Gus Rethwisch. And as you have seen demonstrated in this competition, one of the keys is don't stop at the bottom. Easier said than done, folks. That's 790 pounds coming down on top of you. With a burst, he's in trouble. That's like trying to push a building. Straight up now. And Rethwisch bows out. Only one man left who can tie Don Reinhoudt. And Bruce is telling the cheerleaders, jump up just a little bit, girls, and help me out. I don't know, Bruce made the last one look awfully easy. Now, I'd have to like his chances right here. Takes a wide stance. Here he comes. In trouble. The weight is now a dead one. One more effort for Wilhelm. But that's it. Bruce Wilhelm is conceding. And so the winner of the girl lift at an amazing 790 pounds is Don Reinhoudt. And Wilhelm has to settle for a tie with Rethwisch and Djerassi. And as a result of picking up those 10 points right now, well, Don Reinhoudt has jumped back into the overall lead. It will wheel a total of 125 pounds, up a total of 10 feet. And here's our Commissioner of Power already up at the top, Terry Todd. Terry, this is going to call upon a lot of different muscles.
Yes. This tests the muscles of the hand, the wrist, and the forearm. Brent, it's a test of strength as well as endurance. I think some of the smaller men will have a good shot at this one.
All right, Jack Wright on the left, Brian Oldfield on the right. Will be in our first heat. 125 pounds, 10 feet to the top, timed event. Wright, a former wrist wrestling champion, with Reinhoudt watching. Oldfield, 6'5", 33 years old, trailing Wright right now. Wright with a slight lead. The elapsed time, you can see. Oldfield coming back. Brian Oldfield now has taken a lead. Wright is struggling. For emphasis, 33-12 for Brian Oldfield, our first winner. Wright's time, 40.11. A football showdown. How many times do these two guys duel? Matuszak of the Raiders on the left, Kolb of the Steelers on the right. Oh, Jon Kolb is away sensationally.
Look at Kolb bring this weight on. 2 feet to go. 15 seconds. 16. Incredible. Our winning time of a year ago was 31 seconds. That has got to discourage big John Matuszak. A little over 2 feet to go for Matuszak, and the other man's already done. And John says, I'm just not even going to bother to finish with it right now. Unbelievable by Kolb.
John, that was unbelievable. No one last year even came close to 18 seconds.
18 seconds. I don't know. We have one of these in the gym at home. I have a 6-year-old boy, and he likes to play with it. And I always holler at him, you know, if he quits. So I figured he'd see this, and he'd holler at me if I quit.
So there was no chance that Jon Kolb was backing out on this one.
You can't let your own boy holler at you.
I got to tell you right now that it would take an unbelievable effort in one of the next few heats to beat you.
Well, it's about time the ball players do something like this.
Exactly. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Still hard for me to believe, as you look at Lars Hedlund, that Jon Kolb could do this in 18.65. All right, heat 3, the wrist roll. There's Kolb's time to beat. Lars Hedlund of Sweden's on the left, and our oldest competitor, Ivan Putski, on the right. He's 39 years old, a professional wrestler, native of Poland, arrived in the United States in 1950, and he's got his shoulders into this. Putski played pro football in Toronto, and he went to camp with the Detroit Lions in 1967, and Hedlund is coming back. The big Swede is tough. Hedlund takes command, and he's going to win this heat, but both of these athletes are going to turn in excellent time. 26 for Hedlund. Putski comes on through. 30-11, that's the third best time so far. That man may turn out to be our sleeper. There's no quit in Lars Hedlund. Last 2 heats of the wrist roll, our defending strongman champion, Bruce Wilhelm on the right, Gus Rethwisch on the left. 2 300-pounders. Wilhelm living in San Francisco, Gus in Honolulu. They break evenly. A year ago, Wilhelm did not even finish the wrist roll. Now he leads big Gus by a foot. Almost halfway up. Jon Kolb's record appears to be safe against these two. 24 already the elapsed time. 2 feet to go for Wilhelm, and Rethwisch is coming back. Big Gus closing in. Look at those leg muscles also working in this event. Bruce, the winner of this heat. Now, Don Reinhoudt, leading after 6 weeks. Matched against Boris Djerassi in the green. Djerassi at 245 pounds, the hammer throw champion. Big Reinhoudt trying to hold his lead in the overall competition. Look at Djerassi's hip movement. This is called the disco lift. 3 feet to go for Reinhoudt. Big Don's going to win this heat, but Jon Kolb's record is safe. Wilhelm's time faster than Reinhoudt's. That will affect the overall competition. Djerassi is determined. He is going to finish. 54 seconds for Boris. Jon Kolb was unbelievable, too, wasn't he? 10 points for finishing first. Hedlund, 7 for being second in the wrist roll competition. So after 7 events at Universal City, look how close it is at the top. Reinhoudt ahead of Wilhelm.
Ivan Putski gets on the board with that third-place finish. Boris Djerassi here is being strapped in by Hal Connolly, and the tram that Boris and our other strong men will be pulling weighs a total of 7,800 pounds. We'll run this off in heats. Boris, for example, will be matched against John Matuszak. Fastest time wins. Now, the end of the course, the finish line, is 100 feet away. That's 30 feet longer than it was a year ago when Bruce Wilhelm covered it in 14 seconds. Boris, how's that harness feel?
Feels great.
Yes, sir.
Terrific.
All right. Before we get started with our first heat, let's take a look at the standings.
After 7 events, our 2 biggest strongmen, Don Reinhoudt and Bruce Wilhelm, are locked in a furious duel. Less than a point separates those 2 giants, and here's an event where both should do well. Matuszak is the closest to you. They're off. John Matuszak has got his Tram moving. Remember, that's 7,800 pounds he's underway with. Djerassi can't even get started over there on the right. He's having a terrible time. Matuszak staying low, driving through now. Gonna win this heat. Best time wins it. Djerassi's having difficulty. The judges are over there conferring on the side. Hal Connolly and Terry Todd are bringing them together. Matuszak will win this heat.
Getting it started was agonizing, wasn't it?
Absolutely, Brent. And what a time for an interview right now. It's, I'll tell you, it was like trying to break up a double team with Dave Casper and John Vella, who are 2 of the best.
But you got it broken up, Big John. Nice
I did,
goal.
Brent. Thanks a lot, man.
Now, here's the ruling on Djerassi. He is going to be given a second run. We're going to run the rest of this competition just against the clock. 1 man with the same Tram. Gus Rethwisch came through. His time is official, 38.26. Djerassi will be given a rest. He can come at the end of the competition. Don Reinhoudt is ready now. Remember, he's running against the clock. And the time to beat Matuszak's 31.17. Pressure time for Reinhoudt as he goes out after the champion Wilhelm. Good start by Reinhoudt. He's staying high. Don Reinhoudt is staying up there. He's really got it moving now the last 30 feet. Don Reinhoudt coming in with a good time. Look at the big guy. Oh, Reinhardt's down. Get in there quickly. They stopped the Tram before it ran over him.
Twenty-five seconds, so you're the unofficial leader, but more importantly, are you all right?
Oh, I'm perfect. Real good. Real good.
Scuff here and way down on the leg.
Just tired.
What was it like getting going, Bigger?
Yeah, it's hard. That's awful hard.
And you stood up about midway through and you started taking that stride. You were really coming down at the end.
I tried anyway, I'll tell you.
Well, I'll tell you what, thank goodness these guys were able to jump out there and stop that coming at you, because you were helpless down there on the asphalt. Get yourself dusted off and get a rest.
Okay, Brett. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Reinhardt's time. Good. 25.75. Jack Wright came through in 60.42. So here's Brian Oldfield. Now, if Oldfield can get this 7,800-pound Tram moving, he'll turn in a sensational time, too. He's quick. Having some difficulty, though, just getting it rolling. That's where the trouble is for the strongmen. Now our shot putter's underway. Reinhoudt stayed up a little bit higher that last time. Oldfield's down low. Maybe the key is to stand up a bit. The crowd urging on the 33-year-old athlete from Woodside, California. He goes to a little bit of a swimming stroke there at the end, doesn't he?
Okay.
Brian, that was a great breaststroke you showed us at the end.
It was situational, Brent. I just felt that was necessary at that time to pull me across the line. And I need a transfusion.
A year ago, the winner of this event was our champion, Bruce Wilhelm. He's getting inside the harness, and Bruce will be coming out next. Those are the times that he's shooting at. Reinhoudt with the best heat so far of 25.75. The last 3 heats of the Tram pull. 7,800 pounds for the defending champion, Bruce Wilhelm. And he is starting to take it seriously. He is under pressure this year from big Don Reinhoudt, who already has turned in that time, 25.75. Wilhelm underway. Stays low at the start and then comes up. It's 100 feet to the finish line. Wilhelm shooting at that leading time of Don Reinhoudt. He's got a shot at it, but he'll have to hurry. Reinhardt's lead holds up. So Wilhelm will not win it this year.
27-28, so you're just off of Reinhoudt. Just missing him by a couple of seconds that time, Bruce.
It's tough, I'll say that.
What advice would you give the rest of the guys coming after you now?
Just pull as hard as they can and keep low.
All right. Now you got 2 more events after this to still catch Reinhoudt.
Yeah, it's not over yet.
Okay, thanks.
Ivan Putski will not pull because of a knee problem. Lars Hedlund and Jon Kolb still to come.
Look who I found backstage checking out some of the equipment. The current Mr. America, David Johns, who was in training for the Mr. Universe contest. And David, looks though you'd like to come into this World's Strongest Men competition.
Yeah, it looks very good. I was out checking the equipment out, but I would have liked to have been in it this year, but I wouldn't want to break my training for the Mr. Universe. That's what I'm getting ready for now, Mr. Universe contest. Maybe next year. It looks very good.
David, training for those bodybuilding competitions, what do you go through? How rigorous is it?
You go through a lot of heavy training, you know, a lot of stress, you know, on the mind and on the body, you know. It's a lot different from competing in the Strongest Man contest, even though you do have a lot of strength, you know, bodybuilders do have a lot of strength to compete, you know, and I would very much like to get into it, test my strength on it. I'd be glad to be here.
Thanks, David.
All right, thank you.
And here is Lars Hedlund, who came into the tram pull, standing in 3rd place overall. And remember, our 4 leaders will go into the tug-of-war. Next week's the refrigerator race, followed by the tug-of-war. Hedlund is underway. He's 29 years old, 6'3", 302 pounds from Sweden. He's a lieutenant in the Swedish Army. And he's been a bearcat so far in this competition. Chasing Reinhoudt and Wilhelm. Turning in a good time.
Good run, Lars. 29:07. Excellent time. One of our leaders right now. You hit that finish line like an old track and field man, like you were busting through that tape. You're going to take these events back to Sweden with you and say, hey, let's do it over here.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, good. Thank you, Lars.
And coming up now, Jon Kolb, 264 pounds. He gives away as much as 100 pounds to the bigger men. Look at Reinhoudt's time, 25.75. Kolb of the Steelers. What's the muscles down there in the legs? That's why Frank O'Hara, Rocky Blyer, and Terry Bradshaw hitched their wagon to this man. He has been a mainstay of Chuck Noll's offensive line for years. Coming through now. Chasing Reinhoudt's sensational time. Stands in 4th place overall. Jon Kolb with a good run against the bigger athlete. 31.36 official for Kolb. And Boris Djerassi finished out of the money at 50.54. Don, your time held up and you won the tram pull. Big 10 points for you.
I'm really happy with that. I needed that awful bad.
Now, how do you feel? Because you left this for a time. You don't see many of the worse for wear here.
No, I'm in good shape, and hopefully we'll hold up through the rest of the competition.
You got 2 events left now, the refrigerator race and the tug-of-war. Are you optimistic?
Well, all I can say is I'll give it the best shot I got, Brett.
Right.
Let's hope it, pays off.
By winning the tram pull, Reinhoudt picks up 3 more points on Wilhelm. Hedlund is 3rd, Matuszak 4th, and Kolb 5th. And after 8 weeks overall, it's Reinhoudt alone at the top over the defending champion. Hedlund is 3rd, and Kolb is 4th. And you can see the rest of our field.
He's a total of 425 pounds. From start to finish, it's 100 feet away.
Heat 1. Jack Wright is over there on the left. And on the right, the man who I feel, pound for pound, is the strongest man in this competition. Boris Djerassi weighs only 246 pounds. Now the key here is to get moving with those short steps, maintain balance, and pick up speed in the last 50 feet. Bruce Wilhelm blew out the field in this event a year ago, and it is Djerassi coming down. He's going to win our first heat. That's fine time for Boris Djerassi, 16.48. He's delighted by the effort as he wins the heat. The crowd here loves him. And the time for Wright is 21.21. Look at Boris. Jon Kolb of the Pittsburgh Steelers, getting ready for the second heat. And remember, our 4 leaders after the refrigerator race go to the tug-of-war next week. Brian Oldfield is matched against Kolb. John came into this event in 4th place. He won the wrist roll earlier, has cows on his farm, and says that milking those cows is what strengthened up his hand. Mainstay of the Steelers' offensive line. He's on the right-hand side. He should do awfully well in this event. Short steps, maintain balance. Keep the refrigerator right on the small of the back. He's taken a slight lead on Oldfield, but it's close. 16.48 is what they're shooting at. That is the best time so far. And Kolb is coming across, and now he's got our best time. Jon Kolb with a good finish. Oldfield's time is handed to me, 17.51. You can watch, see how our helpers stay close in case those refrigerators get out of control. And here's our winner of this heat and our new leader, Jon Kolb at 14.30. Lars Hedlund of Sweden is up next. Matched against the Oakland Raiders starting defensive end, John Matuszak. Matuszak, 27. He's over 300 pounds. Tommy Kono and the rest of the judges assume their positions. Hal Conley gets them underway. Matuszak's long legs don't help him, but he's coming along. Hey, look at Lars Hedlund explode over here on the left. He's going to be our new leader. Look at the time that big Lars turns in, and Matuszak is right there with him. Hedlund's time, 13.67. That's an incredible run. Matuszak's in 14.92. That's the 3rd fastest, so they were both moving right along. Let's watch that heat again. There is Matuszak on the right. But look at Hedlund over here on the left. Those short steps. And he's really got it rolling, doesn't he? He could have raced all day with that refrigerator on his back. Our new leader, a lieutenant in the Swedish Army, Lars Hedlund. Race. Don Reinhoudt matched against Bruce Wilhelm. There's Don of Fredonia, New York. These two have been running 1-2 all along. If Wilhelm is to come back, he must do it here. I had a chance to talk to Bruce about coaching techniques.
I noticed when I started paying my own bills that I pay very little attention to coaches unless I like them, and unless I feel they help me. People are always free with advice, truthfully. And I remember when I was wrestling in Oklahoma State, I got into some static on this. And I tell you, a coach is a wonderful person, a person that's needed, but he's not the one that's out there doing a particular event. And it's you and yourself when you're doing it, and so I try to think for myself.
Okay, now we've got the refrigerator race, and we got the tug-of-war coming up. You're trailing Don. It is close. How are your chances? Which is the most important?
Well, as I see it, all 3, the double elimination tug-of-war and the refrigerator race, are very important. We never know what happens in a competition like that, and that's what's so great about competition, because we can actually see people fold up like accordions. Some people might pick off this refrigerator race that aren't expected. Myself, I personally expect to pick it off. However, I don't know. We've got some fabulous athletes, but I still think I'm better than all of them.
Yes, Wilhelm is outspoken, much like Muhammad Ali, but he can back it up, too. He's on the right now in this showdown heat. There's Don on the left. And Wilhelm is off to a strong start. Won this event a year ago. He's going to capture the heat. Going for the good time now. Bruce Wilhelm out on top. Splendid effort by the defending champion. 14.19. Donnie's got to come along as quickly as he can. This is not a good run. This is going to hurt Reinhoudt in the overall competition. Wilhelm now has turned this around completely in his favor. There's no question about these 2 men going into the tug-of-war. They're going to be among our 4 leaders, but here's the finish. And right here is where an athlete like Wilhelm backs up that braggadocio with a sensational performance. Reinhoudt's time, 19.8. He won't get a single point in this race.
14.19, the second place big guy, and you handled your main man rather easily in that event.
Well, like I said, he's a big whale. We're putting a harpoon to him. But I just am amazed all these fabulous athletes we have here this year. It really, it's discouraging.
Well, they were coming down that course. That Lars Hedlund can really put it on, can he?
Yeah, the big Swede is tough, no doubt about it.
All right, well, the tug-of-war is next for you.
Well, I'll say a prayer for him.
All right, okay, Bruce.
And it is an extremely confident Bruce Wilhelm who has jumped back into the lead because while Hedlund won the refrigerator race, Bruce was second. Reinhoudt didn't pick up a single point. After 9 events, there are the 4 men who will go into the tug-of-war final with the points for that competition doubled. You look at the rest of our field. But now meet the 4 finalists. Bruce Wilhelm trying to defend his title. Big Don Reinhoudt, who's been with him for 9 straight weeks. Lars Hedlund, the surprise of our competition from Sweden. And Jon Kolb of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Come to our final battleground to determine the champion of our World's Strongest Men competition this year. And I suppose that it's only fitting that to determine the champion, we have the simplest of all battlegrounds. This will be a tug-of-war. There are 4 finalists, and to win it, they're going to have to come back and win 2 events. Let's take a look now at the pairings for this final tug-of-war. The first pair to go, Don Reinhoudt against Jon Kolb. Then it'll be Bruce Wilhelm against Lars Hedlund. And the winners will come back for the championship. There's how they stand. Gus Rethwisch, for winding up 5th, receives $1,000 in bonus money, the rest of our field. Let's go back and show you how these 4 reached the final. The first event was the barrel lift. It was extremely awkward, liquid and shot inside, and Big Don Reinhoudt immediately served notice to Bruce Wilhelm that he was out after his championship this year. 270 pounds. And against the clock, Reinhoudt was able to lift it to the top and lock for 10 points in the first week of our competition. The second event, the steel bar bend. They got down to 11/16 inches in diameter. Lars Hedlund on the left and Bruce Wilhelm on the right. And these 2 300-pounders wound up with a dead heat victory. They split first and second. The third event was the tire toss, and the favorite, the shot put champion, Brian Oldfield, heaved at 42 feet 9 inches for the title. The car lift, again it was Big Don Reinhoudt, 2,345 pounds. The fifth event, the wheelbarrow race, for the second year in a row, it was Big Bruce Wilhelm to the top first. The sixth event, the girl lift, and Reinhoudt responded to Wilhelm's victory in the wheelbarrow race. 790 pounds, and it was Reinhoudt of Fredonia, New York, getting it to the top for 10 points. The seventh event saw a new winner. Member of the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line, Jon Kolb, an incredible 18.65 and 10 points for winding up first. The eighth event was the Tram pull, and it was Reinhoudt again, 25.75 seconds. Last week, the refrigerator race, Lars Hedlund, a surprise winner, 13.67. And Jon Kolb is now ready for a tug-of-war against Big Don Reinhoudt. Reinhoudt weighing in at 344 pounds, Kolb at 267, a 60-second time limit. Reinhoudt has got Kolb in trouble early, and he wins it in less than 10 seconds. So Big Don Reinhoudt advances quickly to the championship round. I think you had a little bit of a weight advantage.
Let me tell you one thing. I respect this man a heck of a lot. He's a heck of a man. You know, let me just say it was really hard to go against John because I think an awful lot of him. I hate to make bad faces at you, John.
Did he yank a little bit harder than some of your cows, Big?
You know what? In the previous 9 events, I've noticed his wife over there, and she's patient and she's worried. Just before this started, I looked over and she has a big smile on her mouth.
Well, and here is why Cynthia was smiling. Jon Kolb didn't have a chance giving away that much weight. Big Donnie just yanking him across that dividing line. All right, second heat. Big Bruce Wilhelm now is matched against still another 300-pounder, Lars Hedlund of Sweden, a lieutenant in the Swedish Army. He's been the surprise of the entire competition. Now, note that piece of white tape there in the middle. If at the end of 60 seconds, neither of these athletes is across the dividing line, on whichever side that white tape rests, that will be declared the winning side. Wilhelm trying to hold on. Lars Hedlund. And Hedlund is not giving away a thing, is he? 6'3", 302 pounds on the left. He's 29 years old. Wilhelm is 31 years old. Strength against strength. 30 seconds to go. And they are still dead even. Hedlund coming back. Now it's Wilhelm with a slight lead. Whichever of these athletes plays the clock with that final burst in the last 10 seconds, he may be able to come away with a victory. Wilhelm's got Hedlund in trouble, and it is Lars who pulls back. 9 seconds. Look at Wilhelm. He's rusting for one final burst. Here it is. 2 seconds. And Wilhelm wins with that final yank. And Bruce Wilhelm goes into the final, but he is going to be a tired competitor. Lars Hedlund gave Bruce all he wanted and more in that competition.
Swedish athlete gave you some competition that time.
Yeah, I'm beat. I don't like this event. I'm tired. I'm gassed. I need a rest.
Go get it, because you got to come back one more time. Okay. All right.
A different view of Wilhelm's victory. From behind, watch the 320-pound champion. Hedlund's in trouble. Then Lars pulls back, and Bruce decides to wait until Hal Conley says only 5 seconds remain. Then the one final burst gets the white tape over on his side, and we'll be back with the championship. Who's the king of the strongmen? We're about to find out. For winding up third overall, Lars Hedlund of Sweden picks up $5,000 in bonus money. Jon Kolb is fourth, $2,000 to him.
For 9.5 events, the two biggest men have been stocking each other. Don Reinhoudt on my left, Bruce Wilhelm on my right, and now it has all come down to one tug of war. Don, how do you feel?
Well, I'm confident. Just hope to do the very best I can, Brett.
Bruce, how about you?
Well, I have to be a little more humble this year than last. It's going to be tough. I feel gassed. I went the full minute where Don just pulled his man across.
I was called the fat boy, so I'm the one that should be out of shape, not you, Bruce. So we'll see who's the fat one, okay?
Well, I say if that's a challenge, Don, I gladly accept it, because you still are the fat boy.
Here we go. All down to one tug of war, and I detect just a touch of animosity this time, too.
No love lost at all between these two. They have been dueling each other since week one. Reinhoudt determined to take this title back to upstate New York. Wilhelm wants to keep it right here in California. 60-second time limit. Hal Conley will start the showdown. Reinhoudt, 344 pounds. Wilhelm, 320. Underway. Reinhoudt goes down to establish a base. Wilhelm appears to be in trouble early. He is. He'll have to struggle back. Reinhardt's got a chance to win it right here. One more yank and he can get Wilhelm across, but Bruce is now pulling back. Now he's in trouble again. Reinhardt's down. Reinhoudt may not be able to stop it. Reinhardt's going to lose it. He's down and out. Hal Conley has declared Wilhelm the winner. When Reinhoudt went down, he didn't know where the dividing line was. Looked up at Hal Conley, and Wilhelm gave it one more yank.
Well, Bruce? Yeah, I got a lot to say now. There's no doubt about it. We've proven that a weight-trained athlete can beat a fat man, can beat a football player, professional wrestler. The best athlete is here. There's no doubt about it. That's it.
All right. Bruce Wilhelm, our champion.
And with it, a check for $10,000 in bonus money, $7,000 to Don Reinhoudt.
So for the second straight year, we present this World's Strongest Men trophy to our champion, Bruce Wilhelm. And for all our competitors, you guys did a marvelous job. But let's hear it from you for Bruce Wilhelm for the effort he put out.
Way to go, man.
Bruce, congratulations.
Well, I want to really say something.
That would be a change.
Something more mellow. Here, I'll hold it there.
All right, go right ahead.
I guess it really kind of started last year when we started getting down on everybody's case, but I kind of want to mend the bridges here. We got a lot of fine athletes. It was a lot tougher than last year. You know, I was really very fortunate once again to win, because Don is a superior athlete, a fabulous athlete, just as all these gentlemen are. I want to take my hat off to him, but I still think I'm better.
And so, from Universal City for the World's Strongest Men competition.